Yes, thank you, Benjamin. So, of course, it's true that in a hunter-gatherer society there is no or very little transportable wealth. It does not follow that there is equality. The biggest difference in what we know of, I mean, obviously, by definition, prehistoric societies, we can't say for sure, but we can observe current hunter-gatherer societies and we can extrapolate. There was a massive difference in status, especially between the free and the slaves, which was a very, very widespread feature of pretty much every human society, again, until an eye blink ago. There was concubinage, there was constant tribal warfare is maybe the wrong word, but raids. Somebody who studied the Wari people in Colombia, an American academic, worked out that the death rate among the tribesmen of fighting age was like constantly fighting the First World War. And this is before you even look at infant mortality. So there was, it's not a world we would want to go back to, and it's not even a world we would want to replicate at a wealthier level. But the real problem with it is collectivism always stifles opportunity. When there was pressure on the Brazilian rainforest, and the musician Sting decided to buy a big chunk of the rainforest and give it to the tribes, hunter-gatherer tribes. Can anyone guess what happens next? So optimist as I am about modern society, I'm pretty pessimistic about pre-modern society. I'll tell you what happened. Very quickly, the chiefs of these tribes were flying around in private jets while the rest of the tribe were working as slaves in mines. They began logging and mining on an unprecedented scale. Why? Because Sting had made the mistake of giving them the land collectively instead of individually. So they were still with this problem, the Aristotelian problem, that which nobody owns, nobody cares for. And of course the real revolution for those people will come when they understand that they are better off as individuals. I'm just, if I may, I'm going to make one more point about this. Since I'm here in your university, and since your courses here reflect moral values, and I think this is an important point, I have come across many times in majority Muslim countries, but particularly actually in the Arab world, not so much here, an idea that individualism, free markets, stock exchanges, are somehow a Western imposition. That they were some Anglo-Saxon tradition that has been, seeded around the world through colonialism. And I have to say, I find that very difficult to reconcile with what we know of the history of Islam. Islam was the only great religion in the world founded by a businessman. And if we go back to the cultural conditions in the Prophet's time, and you look at the way in which people were sending out, these camel trains all over the world, from Europe to China, they were based on what we would now call a joint stock venture with limited liability.
Wow.
Right? This was really the origin of the free market. The Italians had the concession to the Ottoman Sultanate, and they began to see how it was done. They said, well, maybe we can do this with convoys of ships. And then the Dutch and the English copied it from them. But the origins really can be traced back to Arabia. And we see this in so many ways. We see, in the writings of Ibn Khaldun. We see it in the tradition of the Waqf, the idea of a trust that is between the state and the individual, but that reflects the wishes, even of a dead individual, over the needs of the living. That's the elevation of the individual over the collective. So if we really want a Western imposition, particularly on the Arab world, it's not capitalism, it's the opposite. It's Nasserism, it's Baathism, it's Arab socialism. Right? And throwing those things off, it seems to me, is much more of a return to the indigenous tradition of the Islamic world, which initiated and drove a lot of what we now call liberal capitalist ideas.
Absolutely. And this is coming from Lord Hannon, is a great contribution because we have been striving to draw guidance from Quran and Seerah. And we think if we are falling short in our moral education to our students, then that is one source of guidance we need to return to. So thank you so much. This